Hey guys, just got home from MSNOW. I was on earlier today talking about Trump's completely unhinged, deranged Easter tweet where he demeaned the United States, demeaned Muslims, demeaned what it means to be an American, and otherwise behaved like a crazy, unhinged uncle who probably should be committed to the insane asylum rather than being put in charge of the nuclear codes. Hope you like it. Check it out.
President Trump is scheduled to hold a news conference on the war with Iran, and a big focus is expected to be on that stunning Easter Sunday social media post in which the president decided to write, quote, "Open the bleeping straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah." And just moments ago, Trump gave his thoughts on voters who question his strategy in Iran.
What do you say to Americans who are not a fan of the war?
They're foolish because the war is about one thing. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Joining us now, Democratic strategist Julie Roginsky. Here, Schumer said in response to Trump's post, here it is, "Happy Easter, America. As you head off to church and celebrate with friends and family, the President of the United States is ranting like an unhinged madman on social media. He's threatening possible war crimes and alienating allies. This is who he is, but this is not who we are. Our country deserves so much better." I mean, Schumer offering some pretty straight talk there. Yeah. So is that enough for Republicans, rather Democrats?
Look, I was just in Asia last week, and I can tell you that I had waiters in Seoul, South Korea, come up to me on 2 separate occasions and say to me, "We know this is not you." Unprompted. Really? A waiter came up to me and said, "Welcome. We're so happy to have you here." In very broken English said, but your president rolled his eyes. And then he said, "Oh, but don't worry, we know that's not America." It's not America. This man does not represent anything about this country. To say what he said, praise be to Allah, in that kind of pejorative way, right. I mean, it is so antithetical to who we are as a nation. It is so disrespectful to the Muslim community of this country. It is so disrespectful to the Christian community of this country to do this on Easter, to drop the F-bomb and effectively to say this. And when you have people from across the world say to Americans when they're traveling, "We know this is not who you are," after a while, you got to start wondering, is this who Congress thinks we are? Is this who Republicans in Congress believe that we are? Because they're not calling this out publicly. You have a few people like Don Bacon and others, but I mean, you don't have the Speaker of the House or the Senate Majority Leader come out and say, "You know what? Enough is enough. This is not about the war. This is about how this president is choosing to prosecute this war. This is not who the United States is, and we're going to stand up for this country." And I'm waiting for them to do that, and I'm going to hold my breath for a very long time because they're not going to.
And you have to wonder how long Americans will be given that kind of grace,
exactly
though,
right.
as Donald Trump perpetuates his behavior over the next certainly 2.5 years at least. So let me stick with you because this all comes as the president is asking for, what, $1.5 trillion for the Pentagon's budget next year. That is a 40% increase from what was approved for this fiscal year. That budget then would cut over $70 billion from domestic programs. That includes the elimination of key federal health, housing, education programs, which, by the way, serve minority groups largely and the poor. And it almost seems like Trump is just handing on a golden platter to Democrats something that they can run with. Are you confident Democrats will do that?
Well, I'm confident that Americans are so furious at Donald Trump that they're coming out to vote in droves just to send a message to him. That's very different from Democrats being able to run with a positive, affirmative message, which sometimes they're more successful at doing than others. But I do think that this is going to be an incredibly bleak election for Republicans because they continue to hang with him. I mean, look, Mike Lawler is in a very, you just talked about Mike Lawler last segment. Mike Lawler is in a very, very, very tenuous situation right now. And yet, even he's not out there being able to say affirmatively, look, this is not good for my constituents. I mean, there's not anybody, I believe, in his district who thinks that giving $1.5 trillion to the Pentagon is good for them.
Which you would think would be justification for lawmakers to speak out, say, look, it's my constituents. Hey, it's not me, but it's my constituents.
They're terrified of primaries. They're terrified of bad tweets. They're terrified of being maligned by this president. And, you know, after a while, you should start fearing your constituents more than the president.